Trump has invaded Venezuela. And I'm like, wait, what? That happened?
Go another day of wasting any time. I've got a lot to say, can't hold it in this time. No filter, I got no filter.
I know that people have been treating the topic as a ticking bomb, that sooner or later Trump would invade. It started with the blockade of, it started with bombardment of fisher boats for drugs. Then it kind of escalated to to confiscate, is it the right word? Confiscating oil boats, to confiscating oil from Venezuela. Then the accusations of Venezuela stealing oil from the US, confiscating US property. Then it escalated into a blockade. And finally, we have this. Like, up until now, it was this weird standoff, and nobody knew when this would happen. And Gray, you don't want to be. To be honest, only people very online in certain circles been treating it as a ticking time bomb. I mean, so I guess only the people that were actually following this thought that it was a ticking time bomb. Piracy. I mean, that's true. Piracy is the word. Venezuela's government has accused the United States of attacking civilian and military installations after the capital Caracas was rocked by a series of explosions in the early hours of Saturday morning. I mean, now we know it's not just a vague accusation, okay? With the power of hindsight is 2020, we now know that Donald Trump wants to take over Venezuela, run it like an oil company, and bleed it dry. What was the thing that he said during his conference today, during his big speech today? Oh, yeah, we will make Venezuelan oil flow like it should. Okay? Yeah, Caracas. Caracas. We will make the oil flow as it should. It's okay. Next is Greenland, and next is it's okay. It's all good. I'm sure it will not have ripple effects on international relations. It will not have any ripple effects on the following of international law. Okay. Trump administration officials are aware of reports of explosions. Yeah, I'm sure they are. I'm sure that the Trump administration officials are aware of reports of explosions and aircraft over Venezuela's capital, because Haze has been boasting about it during the speech, during the Trump speech. Okay, so yeah, they very much were aware of what was happening. President Trump ordered strikes on sites inside Venezuela, including military facilities, Jacobs posted later, citing U.S. officials. And apparently he has given the green light to do it days ahead. So it's not some out of the blue, just, sudden decision that he's made. It's not some quick decision. It wasn't just, he had it all planned out. US President Donald Trump has repeatedly promised land operations in Venezuela. Didn't he say also something like, we're not afraid of boots on the ground? He has not publicly detailed his aims, but has privately pressured President Nicolas Maduro to flee the nation. Reuters has reported that Trump said on Monday it would be smart for Maduro to leave power. I mean, now he's a guest of the United States, so he has left power. So Trump got what he wanted. Also, since then, Trump has actually very publicly detailed his aims. He wants to make the oil flow. He wants to run Venezuela like it should be run, whatever that means. And when asked by reporters, is the US going to run Venezuela for years? He said, it's not going to cost us anything because we're just going to finance it from Venezuelan oil. Like, what is even the plan here? This is crazy. But, whatever. I guess, so what is the status of Venezuela now? Is it like a colony of the United States? Is it just an extension of the United States? What is it? If the United States is just gonna run it directly. Someone on my Discord asked me today, no, not on my Discord, on President Sunday's Discord, I think, has asked, and not me directly, what do you think the vice president of Venezuela's response is gonna be? And I asked sarcastically, do you mean JD Vance? Because who's the VP at this point? Is it the designated person or is it JD Vance at this point? Who is it? Who's going to be running the show in that country? And how? How is it even going to be organized? I've already heard reports that it's not even going to be structured via a government. There's going to be just some CEO that's going to run it, not even from the official presidential office. So this whole thing is turning to be a gigantic mess. The Pentagon did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Oh, there was a lot of commenting since. We got more comment than we bargained for. One of the reasons for invasion, okay, unironically, Trump said that the reason we attacked Venezuela was because it was not pumping enough oil. They do not want to put the opposition leader in. Trump was asked about that. Hey, isn't there an opposition person that could be in charge? And Trump said, no. She's a nice lady, but no. Okay? So no, they're planning to run the country. The US is planning to run the country without any opposition leaders in place. Okay? As far as I understood from Trump's conference. So there was a blockade. All that stuff happened. Okay? Very, very shocking. Well, not really a very shocking development, but also a lot of high-tier politicians were killed in that whole mess. Okay? So let's go forward. The Venezuelan president was captured, of course, or rather invited to visit the United States as a guest. Okay, listen, where's the part in Cyberpunk the US went bankrupt? Okay, I read the history of Cyberpunk. In Cyberpunk, there was some conflict and the United States went bankrupt and broke down into smaller places. So I guess Trump just conducted his own little special military operation that Putin can just envy. Which, can I remind you that whenever Trump talks about the invasion of Ukraine, he scolds Putin, okay? He has harsh words for Putin, but not because he invaded. No. That would be too normal. Trump says that the biggest mistake that Putin has done was not being able to finish his invasion in 3 days, like he should have had. Like he has failed to finish it quickly. He always talks about the invasion in such terms. Okay? He should have finished it earlier. He should have finished it quickly. But now it has dragged on for too long. So I guess he decided to do his own little military operation and finish it quickly. American President Donald Trump says the U.S. carried out large-scale strikes against Venezuela and captured its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, and his wife. I don't think we need to read the whole thing. He's supposed to face trial. He was a dictator. Why the standoff between the U.S. and Venezuela? At least 7 explosions and low-flying aircraft were heard around 2 a.m. local time, with videos circulating on social media showing multiple explosions across Venezuelan capital. Trump has repeatedly promised land operations in Venezuela, while the U.S. has made a major military buildup in the region, including an aircraft carrier, warships, and advanced fighter jets stationed in the Caribbean. Did Trump actually, I'm pretty sure Trump has not even consulted anybody before doing this, right? I don't think he went through regular channels before doing this, did he? I'll have to check. I will have to check this information about my also goated president. Trump has accused the South American country of flooding the US with drugs. Yeah, because, also, he has announced that the president of Venezuela was a leader of a drug cartel. I almost forgot about that. And he designated fentanyl as weapons of mass destruction. So technically speaking, he is not arrested. He did not seek approval of Congress. Of course, he did not. Technically speaking, he has not even arrested a president. He has arrested a gang leader. Okay, a leader of a drug cartel, a terrorist. This was an anti-terrorist operation. Many nations have condemned the attack as extrajudicial killings, while Maduro's government has denied any involvement with drug trafficking. Also, I want to show you something. Since many nations have condemned the attacks, I might as well show you something, okay? Where is it? This is my favorite thing in the world, okay? Look at this. This is the best condemnation I have seen. There's no hypocrisy and no irony here whatsoever. There's nothing to see here. Russia's foreign ministry condemns US actions in Venezuela. Foreign Minister Lavrov. It's an unacceptable violation of the sovereignty of an independent state, respect for which is a key principle of international law, says Lavrov from Russia. You know, the country that's invading Ukraine, that has annexed Crimea, Donetsk, and Luhansk in 2014, and has been waging this war, completely not respecting the sovereignty of an independent state. Heck, not even treating it as a state. It's just, this is the most interesting condemnation of them all. Like, we're gonna talk about how this whole thing serves both Russia and China and any other country that wants to be aggressive on the world stage, really. But let's just go through the articles first, and we can talk about my opinions on it. You know, we can move on to opinion crafting after this. Okay, before his reported capture, Maduro declared a national emergency on Saturday morning, denouncing the attacks as an attempt by the US to take the country's oil and minerals. I mean, what can I say? Not only is this completely correct, Trump has all but just confirmed it in his speech later. So it's not even just speculation. He just said it. Oh yeah, we want the oil. We want to rebuild the oil manufacturing, and we will make the oil flow as it should. So yeah, you know, the peace president, the Nobel Prize president, peace through strength, right? Am I right, fellas? Am I right or am I right? Maduro's to face justice because he's an evil dictator, and Actually, Trump has said that he's done it to free the Venezuelan people from this unelected president. U.S. Senator Mike Lee wrote on X that he had been told by State Secretary Marco Rubio that Maduro was arrested to stand trial on criminal charges in the U.S. The operation on Saturday morning, he added, was deployed to protect and defend those executing the arrest warrant, and no further action was expected. Yeah, says the US while sanctioning the ICC for having an arrest warrant on Benjamin Netanyahu. Do I have to remind you that? Do you remember that? That little event when Trump said, I'm going to shit all over international law and I'm going to sanction the ICC? Remember that? Yes, suddenly it's all about protecting Venezuelan people from a guy that has to be arrested and prosecuted. That was the thing. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi. No, wait, let's read this. U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau said Maduro will finally face justice for his crimes. Finally. You know, it's not like the person that, again, it's not like the person that Trump has prepared a red carpet greeting for has an arrest warrant, right? By the ICC. Oh, didn't work? Well, that's sad. Who did they raid? Oh, it happens. It happens. Unfortunately. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi wrote on X on Saturday afternoon that Maduro and his wife had been indicted. I cannot read. Listen, I'm just a Polish person. Don't at me. In New York and charged with narco-terrorism conspiracy, cocaine importation, conspiracy, possession of machine guns written together for some reason, and destructive devices, and conspiracy to possess machine guns and destructive devices against the United States. What? Conspiracy to possess. Indicted. Thank you. Indicted. Thank you. Indicted. 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 Thank you very much. Conspiracy to possess machine guns and destructive devices against the United States? Don't worry, I'm gonna start a new channel for the work I do in Ukraine. Finally, I'll have something to show for my troubles. English is dumb because it should be pronounced how you first said it. True. Don't say I don't do nothing. You do everything for me. I am grateful. A new channel will just divide your viewers. It won't divide my viewers. It will gather viewers to the content that they want. And I definitely will not put the interviews and whatever documentary material I will create here. That would be a fatal, horrible mistake. Also, Dr. Jones is right. What viewers? Well said, Dr. Jones. Thank you. They will soon face the wrath of American justice on American soil in American courts. Western leaders react to dramatic escalation. Yeah, like Donald Tusk was like, yeah, serves you right, the dictator, not understanding the repercussions of this move by the United States. Widely considered a dictator, Maduro has long been a target of U.S. sanctions and diplomatic isolation. The leader who has ruled Venezuela since 2013 was sworn in to a third 6-year term in January. But yeah, you know what? This time it was a dictator. But what's to stop the US from just going to Greenland now or going to the Guatemala Canal or anywhere really that it wants to, as long as it's not a nuclear power, of course. What's stopping China from saying, okay, so this is how the game is played now. We are divided into spheres of influence. US can have its South America, Monroe Doctrine, or whatever else. We're going to have Taiwan. I guess this is carte blanche for us to do the same with Taiwan, right? Since this is the new world that we're living in. And I don't know, Russia will just feel further vindicated in its aggression against Ukraine, I suppose. Because this is how the game is played now. Like, you have a strong country that doesn't like whatever is happening to a country in their sphere of influence. We just go in, bomb the shit out of it, and arrest the leader. You know? Like, this has repercussions more, like, far more reaching than just locally. Like, we should understand that. We do understand that, right? That this sets a very bad precedent. Like, just the reaction should not just be, oh, yeah, whatever. The guy was a dictator, so it was fine. No, it wasn't fine. What about international rules, international law, which already Trump has shown contempt for? Like, the moment he won the election, Russia wrote, I think, a whole piece about how finally the international liberal rules-based order is over. And we're now seeing it unfold in real time. Like, even if Trump is gone and somehow someone better gets in, the damage that Trump has done, it's gonna be pretty tough to undo, actually. A lot of what Trump has done. A lot of what he has wrought in his wake. Sworn 6-year term in January, but the election has been criticized as neither free nor fair, especially by the Venezuelan opposition led by Nobel Peace Prize winner Maria Corina Machado. You know, the person that Trump has said is not fit to rule, so not even going to consider putting her in. Not even going to consider putting her in because, yeah, she's a nice woman, but not fit. The U.S. operation, not a convenient tool for U.S. interest, I suppose. The U.S. operation on Saturday marks a dramatic escalation in tensions between Washington and Caracas. Okay. This, again, I'm going to use my powers of insight. Hindsight is 2020, okay? And I'm going to say that announcing that the US is going to run Venezuela now is far more than just an escalation in tensions, okay? I would say that calling it an escalation of tensions is an understatement of the year or even of the century. Represents one of the most significant US interventions in Latin America in decades. Also, Trump has announced during his speech about Venezuela that he has further plans for Cuba because he said that we're going to have to talk about Cuba. Cuba is something that we're going to have a discussion about. Okay, what kind of a discussion are you going to have about Cuba? What's going to happen to Cuba? Cuba's next. The top diplomat Kaja Kallas wrote that the European Union was closely monitoring the situation in Venezuela. Translation, we're not going to do anything. We are not going to do anything. We're just going to limp-wristedly condemn it, and nothing will come out of this. The EU has repeatedly stated that Mr. Maduro lacks legitimacy and has defended a peaceful transition. Defended? Callas said, adding, under all circumstances, the principles of international law and the UN Charter must be respected. We call for restraint. Well, too late, because Donald Trump does not give a shit about restraint. Okay? It's just not gonna happen. Restraint's not gonna happen, as we have seen. Like Marco Rubio and Haze have been boasting about this, okay? They're bragging about this. Very proud. European Council President Antonio Costa said the European Union will continue to support a peaceful, democratic, and inclusive solution in Venezuela. Yeah, we're gonna run this country and we're gonna make the oil flow. That's the peaceful, democratic solution of the United States, as it has been, I don't know, told us that the plan was. While coordinating efforts with member states to ensure the safety of European citizens in the country. Maduro's authoritarian allies condemn American attack. Russia's foreign ministry reaffirmed its solidarity with Venezuela, its most significant partner in Latin America. I've already read to you the direct quote from Lavrov, condemning what it called an act of armed aggression. I mean, it was an act of armed aggression. Like, we're going to pretend that it wasn't? Are we going to suddenly pretend that what happened today was not an act of armed aggression? Based on untenable pretexts. I mean, yeah. I'm sorry to say, but yeah. Okay. Moscow, which has waged a full-scale invasion of Ukraine since 2022, added that Venezuela must have the right to determine its own destiny without military interference. Oh. What do you even say to that? To Russia making such a statement? For fuck's sake. In the current situation, it is important first and foremost to prevent further escalation and to focus on finding a way out of the situation through dialogue, the ministry said in a statement. You know, just like Russia has been doing for the last few years. It has all been about developed diplomacy, avoiding escalation, and respecting the sovereignty of the other, right? Right? No, it has not. Iran's authoritarian supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, said, what matters is that when a person realizes the enemy is arrogantly trying to impose something on the country, on the officials, on the government, and on the nation, one must stand firmly against the enemy and bare one's chest in resistance. We will not yield to the enemy. Well, we will see how this whole shit show will unfold, because oh boy. And yes, Glitchmaster is definitely right with the statement, international rule-based order is a joke. So, and then we get to the Trump speech, right? The whole big speech that happened with Rubio, Haze, and Trump, talking about what a great job they did, how it's all about the oil, how the US military is the greatest military since the discovery of the wheel, and how brilliant an operation this was, and how the Venezuelan people have been saved, how the country will be run, how it should be run, and how oil will flow like it should flow. Oh, and that Venezuela has not been pumping enough oil. That was definitely said. President Donald Trump said at a press conference on Saturday that the US will run Venezuela until a safe and proper transition can take place after removing the country's leader, President Nicolas Maduro, from power. And again, I will remind you that Trump was directly asked, so are you planning to do this for years? And he said, yeah, it's not going to cost us anything. He did not answer the question directly, but he certainly did not deny any plans of occupying Venezuela for years. He just said that it would not cost America anything because it would just all be bankrolled from Venezuelan oil, I guess. The press conference comes after the US launched strikes on Venezuelan capital Caracas early on Saturday morning before capturing the country's leader, Maduro, and his wife. This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American might and competence in American history, because everything is the most in history when it comes to Trump. Everything and anything and at all times. Trump told the media at his Mar-a-Lago club in Florida, flanked by senior officials, including Secretary of Defense. Well, isn't it Secretary of War now? It's not Secretary of Defense. There's no Ministry of Defense anymore. There's only the Ministry of War. Pete Hegseth, the psycho, the drunkard, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio, both boasting about this whole affair. Trump said Maduro was in custody and that American officials would take control of Venezuela. See? John de Brazen says, I'm reading Venezuela analysis coverage. He's saying they can reimburse the US for oil nationalization and damages for drug trafficking. Who? Who's saying that? Listen. What reimbursing? The US runs Venezuela now. Okay. Trump told the media at his Mar-a-Lago club in Florida, flanked by senior officials. Trump said Maduro was in custody and that American officials would take control of Venezuela. Earlier in the day, Trump posted a photograph of Maduro blindfolded and on board the USS EWO Jima, assault ship on the Truth Social network. There you go. Nicolas Maduro on board the USS. Wow. What a guest. We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So, I don't know. Never. I guess. Trump said. And it has to be judicious because that's what we're all about. We want peace, liberty, and justice for the great people of Venezuela. Sure you do. You want oil, okay? You want oil rights. You want to bleed the country dry. The president said the US does not want a similar situation with a new leader. And that's why the US is just going to run the country itself. Easy peasy. No difficult leaders if you just elect a CEO from the US. We can't take a chance that somebody else takes over Venezuela that does not have the good of the Venezuelan people in mind and US business. We've had decades of that. Yeah, it's all about those Venezuelan people, I'm sure. Mr. President of Peace. Mr. Peace President. No new wars president. Okay? What a joke. He gave little information about how the country would be run in the coming months, but said it would be done with a group and Rubio would be working on the details. We're not afraid of boots on the ground, he said. No occupation. Okay? That's just very vague way of saying we're just gonna occupy this country and we're just gonna put in our own administration that's gonna run it. I don't think it's a ridiculous thing for me to say, right? Trump expressed doubt that opposition leader Maria Corina Machado could run that country, saying she does not have the support or respect of the people. How Trump would know that, I have no clue. Because, like, he talks about respect in such vague terms that it doesn't mean anything. Okay? How does he know? Oh yeah, it's not about her having respect or anything else. It's about her not really being a convenient puppet to just do what the US wants. And that is pump oil like it should be, okay, flowing to the US. Okay. Trump said the US plans to rebuild Venezuela's oil infrastructure and that large US oil companies will go into the country, which is one of the largest producers in the world. A US embargo on all Venezuelan oil remains in full effect, he said. Yeah. This is starting to sound like a colonial project, by the way. Trump said the plan is to make the people of Venezuela rich, independent, and safe. How are the people of Venezuela rich, independent, and safe if the plan is for the US to run the country and direct oil towards the United States? Probably at preferential everything. How is that supposed to make the Venezuelan people rich, independent, and safe? How? Speaking about the extraordinary military operation on Saturday morning, oh God, military operation, the United States Special Military Operation, the envy of Vladimir Putin. The president said US forces were prepared for a second larger attack as part of the operation to capture the Venezuelan leader overnight, but that it was not necessary because we did what Putin could not. This is just horrible. Donroe Doctrine. Yeah, people have been calling it that. They've been saying that there's a Monroe Doctrine, but it's actually a Donroe Doctrine because the Monroe Doctrine has been going a bit to the wayside and Trump has brought it back in full force, which is why the moniker, the Donroe Doctrine. In his statement, Trump referenced the Monroe Doctrine drafted in 1823 by President James Monroe, laying U.S. claim to influence in the region, as well as the gunboat diplomacy seen under Theodore Roosevelt in the early 1900s. And I'm pretty sure it also said that the U.S. would leave other parties to deal with their spheres of influence, and that the United States has its sphere of influence in South America. That is also quite important. Okay, that the doctrine kind of said we have our turf, all these other parties have their own turfs. You know, which is absolutely a thing that China and Russia could pick up on. To name a few parties that would be benefit quite a lot from the recent developments, don't you think? The US new national security strategy document, released late last year, said Washington should reassert its dominance in the Western Hemisphere in accordance with the policy. On Saturday, Trump joked that it had been renamed after him. The Monroe Doctrine is a big deal, but we've superseded it by a real lot. They now call it the Donroe Doctrine, he told reporters. It was very important, but it was very important, but we forgot about it. We don't forget about it anymore. Indeed. Under the dump. What a slip. Under the Trump administration, we are reasserting American power in our home region, he added. So basically carving up the world into spheres of influence. I keep repeating it, but that is basically what the security document lined out, and that is basically what Trump is putting into practice right now as well. This is why Trump respects Russia much more than Ukraine, by the way, because he considers Russia to be this player that whose sphere of influence this region is, which would include Poland. So it makes me a bit uneasy. Under the Trump administration, we are reasserting American power. Monroe opposed new European colonization or interference in the Americas. In return, it pledged U.S. non-involvement in European conflicts and politics. See? It pledged U.S. non-involvement in European conflicts and politics. Easy? Large-scale strike. Okay, we had those strikes. People were killed. Let's see if we can get some details here. At least 7 explosions. Now, narco-terrorist conspiracy, because everybody knows it's a conspiracy. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi wrote on X on Saturday afternoon that Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, had been indicted in New York and charged with narco-terrorism conspiracy. Cocaine, importation, conspiracy, possession. We already read all those accusations. They will soon be faced with full wrath of American justice on American soil. So there we go. It's happening. We are living in a completely new world. European leaders, one constrained. Let's see. Deep self-irony is so typical for the Russian sense of humor. It's just, this is the world that we live in right now. International rules mean nothing. The US, I'm going to call it invasion of Venezuela, sets a whole new precedent when it comes to international relations. And what's going to happen now? Is China now going to say, okay, so you did thing in your turf. Russia's doing its own thing in its own turf. So I guess now it's our turn. We've been gathering our transport ships. We've been doing exercises, and maybe now it's time to go to the next level with Taiwan. If this is exactly how, if those are the new rules of the game worldwide, right? Like, if this is how things are gonna play out now, then, why not? Right? Why not? But they don't consider Taiwan a sovereign country like Venezuela. Does it matter? Does it matter? I'm not so sure, actually. Might as well go through the speech. Hold on. Like, it's insane what was being said in that speech. Let's see. Trump speech. Venezuela. The Dumbo Doctrine. Trump's full address on US. There you go. We're gonna watch it on WSJ. Yeah, I see Riverboat Jack, the person that got raided instead of me. Thanks. Okay. I raid Riverboat Jack from time to time, but I never get raided by Riverboat Jack. Just saying. Never raided me. And never spoke to me. Okay? Even though we were supposed to talk. No, okay, never mind. Never mind. Let's get out of the gloomy bit. And let's watch the full thing. Trump's full address. 57 minutes. Almost as long as the Jeremy video, right? This is almost as long as Jeremy's little thing. Brilliant. Amazing. Also press like on the stream, remember. You're gonna be good and you're gonna press the like on the stream. $12 likes. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Let's listen. Oh, to listen, I have to have my headphones on. My apologies. Like so many insane things where like I was just flabbergasted when I was listening in on it earlier.
Okay, thank you very much. This is Big Stuff. We appreciate you being here.
Wait. What's with the...
Late last night.
Okay, I'm gonna try to find a thing that is well synced, okay? Full speech, okay?
Okay, thank you very much. This is Big
Okay, this is actually synced. That whole thing, that whole mess from seconds ago was not synced.
Stuff. And we appreciate you being here. Late last night and early today, at my direction, the United States...
But I want to see the full thing together with Rubio and it's like the full thing, okay? The full thing together with Rubio and other speakers. Okay, there you go. That's the full thing. I don't want to just Trump. There you go.
Operation in the capital. At my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault. And it was an assault like people have not seen since...
ever before in history.
World War II.
Of course.
It was a
At least he said since World War II. I completely expected him to say never in history has such an assault been conducted. I actually expected him to say that. Like no non-assault like the assault that has been conducted today has been conducted ever in the history of this planet.
Against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictators.
Yeah, military buildings are the parliament building, the most heavily fortified fortress ever, right? Because they did bomb the parliament building. I know that for a fact. So, brilliant. Only heavily fortified targets were attacked in this mess.
Nicolas Maduro to justice. This was one of the most stunning effective and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history.
Yeah, this was the most brilliant display of completely ignoring the letter of international law ever. Congratulations. And since the United States is the most powerful country in the world, one of the leading countries that sort of set the precedent on how international law is followed, yeah, this will have some interesting repercussions, won't it?
And if you think about it,
I do think about it. I think about it a lot.
some other good ones like the attack on Soleimani.
Attack on Titan. Hello, Spacer's Choice.
The attack on al-Baghdadi, and the obliteration and decimation of the Iran nuclear sites just recently.
By the way, this is the president of no new conflict, no new wars. Only Biden started new wars. And if Donald Trump would have been president, the war in Ukraine would have never happened. And Trump is simply this Nobel Prize president, peace Nobel Prize president. And so, are you new to this stream, Spacer's Choice? If I forgot about you, then I sincerely apologize. I am ready to apologize to you. But if you're new, then tell me how you found this stream. Tell me what other streamers do you watch. And if you need an introduction from me. John the Brazen, Riverboat Jack is non-problematic and just does politics, unlike Vosh, who I used to watch. A counter argument. Vosh raided me at least once, and Riverboat Jack never has. Classic Lucy always pretends she doesn't know me. Listen, it's because you are here so rarely, okay? Like, if you'd be here more often, then I'd not pretend not to know you.
In an operation known as Midnight Hammer, all perfectly executed and done.
Perfect.
No nation in the world could achieve what America achieved yesterday, or frankly, in just a short period of time.
Yeah, but why? I don't think it's a thing to brag about, considering the repercussions of this move. Okay? And the repercussions are ever-reaching, so...
All Venezuelan military capacities were rendered powerless as the men and women of our military, working with U.S. law enforcement, successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night. It was dark. The lights of Caracas were largely turned off due to a certain expertise that we have. It was dark, and it was deadly.
Okay. What a riveting speech. It was dark and it was deadly.
But captured along with his wife.
We also killed a bunch of top politicians, but...
Celia Flores, both of whom now face American justice. Maduro and Flores have been...
Like, the United States had no jurisdiction to just enter Venezuela and arrest the president. Even if Trump decided to call him a leader of a drug trafficking ring.
Indicted in the Southern District of New York, it's Jay Clayton, for their campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States and its citizens. I want to thank the men and women of our military who achieved such an extraordinary success overnight with breathtaking speed, power, precision, and competence. You rarely see...
Like, a lot of people knew this would happen, but it was just a question of when. I don't think many people expected it to happen this Saturday, though. I don't think that was on the cards.
anything like it. You've seen some raids in this country that didn't go so well. They were an embarrassment. If you look back to Afghanistan, or if you look back to the Jimmy Carter days, they were different days. We're a respected country again, maybe like never before.
Oh, yeah. The United States is respected like it has never been before. And that's exactly why it cannot get anything done with Russia in regards to securing peace in Ukraine. It's exactly because the United States now is respected more than any time in history ever.
These highly trained warriors operating in collaboration with U.S. law enforcement caught them in a very ready position. They were waiting for us. They knew we had many ships out in the sea, just sort of waiting. They knew we were coming.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of a braggart this is, that the United States is the most powerful country in the world and Venezuela is not exactly a powerhouse. Oh yeah, we crushed this little country compared to us. Okay. Like, can we talk about more political repercussions, precedent, international law, not just flexing about the thing that everybody knew, that the United States has the biggest, most powerful army in the world?
Coming. So they were in what's called a ready position, but they were completely overwhelmed and very quickly incapacitated. If you would have seen what I saw last night, you would have been very impressed. I'm not sure that you'll ever get to see it, but it was
like, okay, we've known this for decades, that if the US would attack a country, it would probably crush it. It's not exactly some revelation to me.
Not a single American service member was killed, and not a single piece of American equipment was lost. We had many helicopters, many planes, many people involved in that fight. But think of that, not one piece of military equipment was lost, not one service member was, more importantly, killed. The United States military is the strongest and most fearsome military on the planet by far.
Is he going to say that is because of him? Because that's a laughable statement if he actually makes it.
Capabilities and skills our enemies can scarcely begin to imagine. We have the best equipment anywhere in the world. There's no equipment like what we have, and you see that even if you just look at the boats. You know, we've knocked out 97% of the drugs coming in by sea. 90%. Each boat kills on average 25,000 people. We knocked out 97.
Yeah, how many people did you kill just by accusing them of having drugs without any evidence?
And those drugs mostly come from a place called Venezuela. We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want
to answer this, I might as well answer this. Fired missiles and bombs do not count as lost military equipment, if that was a serious question.
Be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation.
Like you would count equipment that would be lost if it would be the system that launches the missiles. But they're firing the missiles and them hitting the target does not count as you losing the equipment.
That we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicial.
Oh, there we go. Here we go. Here it starts. We're just going to take over Venezuela and we're going to govern it ourselves. We're not really going to allow for anybody else to step in and do it. It's just up for grabs for us.
For the last long period of years.
Very vague, actually, questioning. We're just going to run this place until certain requirements are met, very arbitrary requirements, and we'll be the judges of whether or not those requirements have been met. So this basically gives us a carte blanche to indefinitely run this country as we wish. How convenient. How convenient is that?
So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious.
Yeah, until such time as we decide otherwise. He might have as well said that, to be quite honest with you. We will run this country for as long as we decide to.
Transition, and it has to be judicious because that's what we're all about. We want
Yeah, sure. Trump is all about the judicious when he breaks international law and domestic law, by the way. Okay? He did not consult this with anybody, did he? Like Congress or anything. Like he did not do the proper procedure for this, did he? But then he says that he's all about the judicial, right?
peace, liberty, and justice for the great people of Venezuela, and that includes many from Venezuela that are now living in the United States and want to go back to their country. It's their homeland. We can't take a chance that somebody else takes over Venezuela that doesn't have the good of the Venezuelan people in mind. We've had decades of that. We're not going to let that.
Yeah, because Trump and his cronies surely have the best of the Venezuelan people in mind. I believe that wholeheartedly. Like, come on.
Happen. We're there now, and what people don't understand.
Yeah, the Venezuelan people really want to be exploited for oil by the United States. That is the American dream of all the Venezuelan people, isn't it?
But they understand as I say this, we're there now, but we're.
I truly believe that Trump was simply defending the U.S. speakers in Venezuela with this special military operation.
Going to stay until such time as the proper transition can take place. So
There you go, which basically means for as long as we want, because we're going to be the judges of when such a proper transition can place and who can take part in it, how it will be organized.
to stay until such time
Indefinite occupation, basically.
as we're going to run it essentially until such time as a proper transition can take place.
There you go.
As everyone knows, the oil business in Venezuela has been a bust, a total bust, for a long period of time.
Yeah, but that's Venezuela's problem, not Donald Trump's problem. Venezuela's oil business being a bust. Like, that does not... This is insane. The Venezuelan oil business being a bust is not carte blanche for invasion. What is this Russia 2.0 bullshit?
They were pumping almost nothing by comparison to what they could
Okay, what does that matter in that when it comes to the topic of the US attacking and taking over Venezuela?
have been pumping and what could have taken place. We're going to have our very large
Yeah, they haven't been pumping enough, so we had to attack.
United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country.
For the country. Okay, which country are you gonna make the money for, Mr. Donald? Okay, what country is Venezuela is gonna be making money for?
And we are ready to stage a second and much larger attack if we need to do so. So we were prepared to do a second wave if we needed to do so. We actually assumed that a second wave would be necessary, but now it's probably not. The first wave, if you'd like to call it that, the first attack was so successful, we probably don't have to do a second. But
Yeah, more bragging about the US military. Like, he actually did not need to say that, but whatever. Ego.
to do a second wave, a much bigger wave, actually.
That's great.
This was pinpoint, but we have a much bigger wave that probably won't have to do.
Okay, you already said that. You already repeated it 3 times.
This partnership of Venezuela with the United States of
Partnership. What kind of a partnership is it when the United States is just gonna run Venezuela? That's just a partnership between the US and itself, with Venezuela just working as a puppet state at this point in time at least. Who's gonna be representing Venezuela in this partnership?
America, a country that everybody wants.
You know that partnership is usually some kind of an arrangement between equal partners of equal standing, and saying we're just gonna run this place until we can have a transition. That's not partnership. Who's the partner? Where is the partner?
Involved with, because of what we were able to do and accomplish, will make the people of Venezuela rich, independent, and safe.
Yeah, all the slogans possible.
And it will also
Make Venezuela great again.
make the many, many people from Venezuela that are living in the United States extremely happy. They suffered.
Are you gonna deport them now? Is that what's gonna happen?
So much was taken from them. They're not going to suffer anymore. The illegitimate dictator Maduro was the kingpin of a vast criminal network.
I don't think there was any evidence of that presented. Like the chat, I actually have a chat today, so if I'm mistaken about this, you can correct me. I don't think any evidence has been put forward of him being some kingpin of organized crime, of a drug ring. I don't think any evidence of that has been put forward. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Responsible for trafficking colossal amounts of deadly and illicit drugs into the United States. As alleged in the indictment, he personally oversaw the vicious cartel known as Cartel de las Solas.
Okay, I'm gonna have to see some evidence of that.
Which flooded our nation with lethal poison, responsible for the deaths.
Also, drugs have been designated weapons of mass destruction. So take that in.
Countless Americans, the many, many Americans, hundreds of thousands over the years of Americans died because of him. Maduro and his wife will soon face the full might of American justice and stand trial on American soil. Right now, they're on a ship. They'll be heading to, ultimately, New York, and then a decision will be made.
Apparently already in New York.
Between New York and Miami or Florida. But we have people where the overwhelming evidence of their crimes will be presented in a court of law. And I've seen it. I've seen what we have. It's both horrible and breathtaking that something like this could have been allowed to take place.
Yeah, I know. It's breathtaking that this is happening.
For many years after his term as president of Venezuela expired,
Like if the United States doesn't like a country now, I guess let's just invade.
Remained in power and waged a ceaseless campaign of violence, terror, and subversion against the United States of America, threatening not only our people, but the stability of the entire region. And you all saw it. In addition to trafficking gigantic amounts of illegal drugs that inflicted untold suffering and human destruction all over the country, all over in particular the United States, Maduro sent savage and murderous gangs, including the bloodthirsty prison gang Tren de Aragua, to terrorize.
Convenience tells us you're breathtaking. Apparently not breathtaking enough to be rated by President Sunday or only justice, okay? Apparently I'm not breathtaking enough for some people.
American communities
Just saying.
Nationwide, and he did indeed. They were in Colorado. They took over apartment complexes. They cut the fingers off people if they call police. They were brutal, but they're not so brutal now. And I just have to congratulate.
Your best friend is Vladimir Putin. Like, you have no ground to stand on, okay? You have no moral high ground here. Okay? Literally none. With your good friend Putin on the phone every week.
Congratulate our military, Pete, and everybody, and our National Guard, because the job that they've done, whether it's in Washington, D.C., where we have a totally safe city, where it was one of the most unsafe cities anywhere in the world, frankly, and now we have
yeah, of
no
course.
crime in Washington, D.C. We haven't had
Oh my God! Yeah, of course. Citation needed for the Washington crime statistics. Okay.
a killing. We had the terrorist attack a few weeks ago. A little bit of a different kind of a threat, but we haven't had a killing in
10 years.
a long period of time, 6-7 months. We used to have two,
Hello, Maya Mayor.
on average, 2 a week in Washington.
Every single day we used to have a killing.
We don't have that anymore. The restaurants are opening. Everyone's happy. They're going. They're walking their daughters. They're walking their children, their wives. They walk to restaurants. Restaurants are opening all over Washington.
They're walking their daughters. That sounds like they're walking their dogs. They're walking their daughters. They're walking their children. What a way to phrase things, quite frankly.
D.C. So I want to thank the National Guard. I want to thank our military, and I want to thank law enforcement. Been amazing, and they should do it with more cities. We're doing it, as you know, and we're doing it in Memphis, Tennessee, right now, and crime is down. We've just sort of started a few weeks ago, but crime is down now 77%. And the governor of Louisiana called, great person, and he wanted us to help him, as you know, and a certain very
Yeah, everybody just begged Trump to send in the military to their cities. Everybody just, there was a huge consensus. Trump, please send in the military. We all need that in our cities, in our states, for sure. For sure.
nice part of Louisiana, and we have done that. It was a rough section. And
Why is he talking about this during his speech about the attack on Venezuela? He always blabbers around about everything. I will not be surprised if he'll mention Ukraine and how it's Biden's war at some point, and that the war would not have happened if he were president. Like, I would not be surprised if he will not in a moment say, by the way, there's a war going on in Ukraine, and I have inherited this war. This is Biden's war. This war never would have happened if I were president, etc., etc. He just talks about everything. What does that have to do with the topic at hand?
crime down. I understand it's down to almost nothing already after 2.5 weeks. New Orleans, it's down to almost nothing.
Oh my
And
God.
we've only been there for 2.5 weeks. Can't imagine why governors wouldn't want us to help. We also helped, as you know, in Chicago, and crime went down a little bit there. We did a very small help because we had no working ability with the governor. The governor was a disaster, and the mayor was a disaster. But
Yeah, all
did not-
people that disagree with Trump are disasters and should be, I don't know. I'm not going to say it, but, you know.
down crime, but we're pulling out of there when they need us. We'll know. You'll know. You'll be writing about it.
Yeah, they're pulling totally out of their own volition and nothing else.
And likewise, Los Angeles, where we saved Los Angeles early on, where the head of the police department made a statement that if the federal government didn't come in, we would have lost Los Angeles.
What does that even mean? We would have lost Los Angeles. Lost it to whom? What would have happened to Los Angeles? I would have spontaneously turned into a crater or something? What does this statement, we would have lost Los Angeles, mean?
It's long after the fires. That's when they had the riots in Los Angeles. We did a great job. Got no credit for it whatsoever, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. We don't need it. But we'll be pulling out when they need us. They'll call, or we'll go back if we have to. We'll go back. But we did a great job in various cities. But the place that we're very proud of is Washington, D.C., because it's our nation's capital. We took it
Holy shit.
from being a crime-ridden mess to being
Yeah, everywhere. Like, if you would believe everything that Trump's saying, that the United States is just a crime-ridden mess across the board, and the only way to do anything about it is to send in the military and do a purge. What a dysfunctional country. Like, I feel like if it's really true that in all of these in all of these cities there was such high crime, like an epidemic of crime, that just the military was absolutely necessary, then I kind of feel that it speaks to more systemic problems that need to be addressed rather than sending in the military. Okay, I just feel like if you believe Trump's story, then oh my God, America's not great. America's the worst in the world. Like, what the hell? It's insane.
one of the safest cities in the country.
I'm glad he didn't say in the world.
Gangs that they sent raped, tortured, and murdered American women and children. They were in all.
Wait, what gangs? Who sent them? Hold on, I want to listen to this again. The gangs they sent. Who are they?
Cities I mentioned, tortured and murdered. But the gangs that they sent raped.
Who sent them? What? What is he talking about? Am I missing some context? What are the gangs that they sent? The Venezuelans? Who sent the gangs?
Tortured and murdered American women and children. They were in all of the cities I mentioned, Aragua, and they were.
Oh, wait, really? He actually said that Venezuelan gangs were in all of these cities? All of them? All of the cities had a problem of Venezuelan gangs without exception? America was just filled to the brim of Venezuelan gangs, raping everybody? Okay, that's an interesting. So basically, there was this flood of Venezuelan gangs that, I don't know, that were in every single city in the US, and Trump just had to take charge and send in the military. There's not even enough Venezuelans in the world to take over that many cities. They use their drug money to hire local goons. Okay? They use their vast Venezuelan drug riches to hire local goons.
Were sent by Maduro to terrorize our people, and now
No way is he really pulling that shit. No way is he really pushing that as a thing. No way.
Maduro will never again be able to threaten an American citizen or anybody from Venezuela. There will no longer.
No way. The whole problem with crime was just Venezuelan gangs that were omnipresent everywhere. Oh my goodness.
Threats. For years, I've highlighted the stories of those innocent Americans.
Like, no fucking way is he really actually trying to sell this story to the people that Venezuela was literally omnipresent in America, everywhere, all at once.
Lives were so heartless.
Everything, everywhere, all at once, like that movie.
By this Venezuelan terrorist organization, really one of the worst.
Like, it feels like this terrorist organization, this Venezuelan cartel, is being hyped up as like one of the most powerful organizations in the world, if you think about it. If it was able to so perfectly, like, I don't know, just they were able to so perfectly insert itself into every single American city and just almost take it over. He just said that they almost lost Los Angeles, I think, or was it because of the fires? He keeps mixing up those topics, but all of the cities were infiltrated. How powerful is the Venezuelan cartel? Like, is it the world's single most powerful organization? Just what is happening here? Is it the league of villains of the real world?
One of the worst. They say the worst. Americans,
Like, what's the name of the leader of this evil organization? I mean, I know it's supposedly the president of Venezuela, but who's the real leader of this organization? All for one?
like 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungary from Houston. Beautiful Jocelyn Nungary. What happened to her? They, as you know, they kidnapped, assaulted, and murdered by Tren de Aragua animals. They murdered Jocelyn and left her dead under the bridge. There was a bridge that will never be the same to so many people after seeing what happened. As I've said many times, the Maduro regime emptied out their prisons, sent their worst and most violent monsters into the United States to steal American lives. And they came from mental institutions and insane asylums. They came
And they all wanted a sex change. Don't forget that they all wanted a sex change without exceptions.
from prisons and jails. The reason I say both, they sound similar. Actually, prisons a little bit more hostile, a little bit tougher. A mental institution isn't as tough as an insane asylum.
Fuck me, man. A mental institution is not as tough as an insane asylum. What a statement to make. Oh my god. Oh god. We should just replace every single mental health institution with an insane asylum. That would be far more powerful. They have more of an oomph to them. Oh my god.
But we got them both. They sent from their mental
We
institutions.
got them both.
They sent from their jails, prisons.
Oh, I see. People from mental health institutions were sent to the US to be gang members. What brings you to our mental health institution today? Well, I've not been feeling well lately. I've had a bit of a depression episode. I've been feeling sad. I have trouble getting out of bed or doing anything really. Basic hygiene brings, is a hurdle for me. I don't know what to do. Oh, okay. Listen, we're gonna send you to the United States, to Los Angeles, to be a gang member. That is your life now. Here's your ticket and your passport. Good luck. Like, what is... Come on. Really? We got people from both mental health institutions and mental health asylums. Oh, God.
They were drug dealers. They were drug kingpins. They sent everybody bad into the United States. But no longer. And we have now a border where...
Also, don't forget, because I remember that from the campaign, the presidential campaign, that each one of them also want to undergo a sex change procedure at the expense of the U.S. state, of the U.S. budget.
nobody gets through. In addition, Venezuela unilaterally seized and sold American oil, American assets, and American platforms.
Yeah, the nationalization of the stuff in Venezuela. Yeah.
Billions and billions of dollars. They did this a while ago, but we never had a president that did anything about it. They took all of our property. It was our property. We built it. And we never had a president that decided to do anything about it. Instead, they fought wars that were 10,000 miles away. We built Venezuela.
Oh, snap. What was that? Venezuela. What was that in reference to? I chose to ignore it, okay? I chose to ignore the Venezuela.
Oil industry with American talent, drive, and skill, and the socialist regime stole it from us during those previous administrations. And
that's why we have to invade and run the country ourselves.
They stole it through force. This constituted one of the largest thefts of American...
Yeah, but he didn't care about Venezuela then. Venezuela then was not as top priority. Listen,
property in the history of our country. Considered the largest theft of property in the history of our country. Massive oil infrastructure was taken like we were babies, and we didn't do anything about it.
yeah, we should have invaded. You should have invaded, Trump, during your first term. Should have been braver. You should have been like the brave toaster,
Done something about it.
but you were
America will
not.
never allow foreign powers to rob our people or drive us back into and out of our own hemisphere. That's what they did. Furthermore, under the now deposed dictator Maduro, Venezuela was increasingly hosting foreign adversaries in our region
Who? Name them. Russia?
and acquiring menacing offensive weapons
Russia? Was it Russia? Russia is an ally of Venezuela. Was it Russia?
that could threaten U.S. interests and lives. And they use those
What
weapons
allies did they host? Name them. Name the allies that were the enemies of the United States. Please name them. I don't know who you're talking about.
last night. They used those weapons last night, potentially in league with the cartels operating along our border. All of these actions were in gross violation of the core principles of American foreign policy.
Why would different countries care about core principles of American foreign policy? What? Why is it the job of other countries to follow the core principles of American foreign?
Dating back more than 2 centuries. And not anymore.
More than 2 centuries?
All the way back, it dated to the Monroe Doctrines. And the
Monroe Doctrine, not doctrines.
Monroe Doctrine is a big
The Monroe Doctrines, the sacred tables, the sacred tablets of the Monroe Doctrines.
deal. But we've superseded
The Monroe Doctrine deal? What? The Monroe Doctrine deal? Doctrines are not deals. What the fuck?
it by a lot. By a real lot.
By a real life. Jesus, I want to listen to this
Monroe
again.
Doctrine is a big Monroe Doctrines.
Monroe Doctrines.
And the Monroe Doctrine is a big deal. But we've superseded it by a lot. By a real lot. They now call it the Monroe document. I don't know. It's Monroe Doctrine. We sort of forgot about it. It was very important, but we forgot about it. We don't forget about
Holy fucking shit. He actually embraced the whole Donroe Doctrine meme.
it anymore. Under our new national security strategy, American dominance in the Western Hemisphere will never be questioned again. Won't happen. So just in concluding...
Yeah, people have started calling it the Donroe Doctrine because the Monroe Doctrine has been sort of pushed away in U.S. Policy, and Trump started very aggressively going back to it. And so jokingly, the media started calling it the Donroe Doctrine because Donald.
For decades, other administrations have
I've actually seen this term in the media before.
neglected or even contributed to these growing security threats in the Western Hemisphere. Under the Trump administration, we are reasserting American power in a very powerful way. In our
We are reasserting power in a powerful way. Also, the aggressive return to the to the Monroe Doctrine is actually very, very convenient for countries like, again, China, India also to an extent, Russia, because they can point to it and say, yeah, this is the world now. It is divided into spheres of influence. We have our spheres of influence. You have yours in Southern America, and we should just not get in each other's way.
home region. And our home region is very different than it was just a short while ago.
Home
The
region.
future will be, and we did this
Like, just replace the term home region with sphere of influence, and you'll have the same thing,
in my first
basically.
term. We had great dominance in my first term, and we have far greater dominance right now.
Great dominance where? You had great dominance where?
Everyone's coming back to us. The future will be determined by the ability to protect commerce and territory and resources that are core to national security. These are core to our national security. Just like tariffs are, they've made our country rich, and they've made our national security stronger than ever before.
Uh-huh.
But these are the iron laws that have always determined global power. And,
There you go.
We're going to keep it that way.
The iron laws of spheres of influence.
Secure our borders. We will stop the terrorists. We will crash the cartels, and we will defend our citizens.
Do I have to remind you that Trump has absolutely no plan how to govern Venezuela, how to, like, he just announced that it all went swimmingly and that it will just all go swimmingly moving forward? Like, okay, how many days did it take to win in places like, oh, I don't know, Iraq? And how did that go? You know? Like, just saying. Okay? Just saying. Wait, me? Swedish?
Against all threats, foreign and domestic. Other presidents may have lacked the courage or whatever to defend America, but I will never allow terrorists and criminals to operate with impunity against the United States. This extremely successful operation should serve as warning to anyone.
Yeah, we'll see for how long it'll stay successful, actually. That is yet to be seen. The long-term success of this brilliant operation.
Would threaten American sovereignty or endanger American lives. Very importantly, the embargo on all Venezuelan oil remains in full effect. The American Armada remains poised in position. And the
Okay.
United States
Well,
retains
yeah,
all
of course it all remains in place. After all, this is an occupation. So, of course, all these things will remain firmly in place. Like, what else am I supposed to be expecting?
military options until United States demands have been fully met and fully satisfied.
Okay, what are those demands? List them now. Like, before it was, we're just going to govern until we can assure a peaceful transition that is judiciary. And now it turned to until our demands are met. Demands from whom? There's no government to speak of.
All political and military figures in Venezuela should understand what happened to Maduro can happen to them, and it will happen to them if they are.
What a partnership. Didn't he call it a partnership before? That there's a partnership going on between the US and Venezuela, and now it's, yeah, we arrested your president, and if you don't play ball, what happened to him can happen to you. What kind of a partnership is this? Like, what kind of a partnership is this supposed to be?
Just
Also, they don't even want to. Like, I just saw a comment, someone saying that they're gonna install a Western puppet. They don't even want to do that right now. The US just wants to run it itself for now, without installing anybody.
fair even to their people. The dictator and terrorist, Maduro, is finally gone in Venezuela. People are free. They're free again.
They're not free. The US is running Venezuela now. Venezuela is just like effectively under occupation. What are you talking about?
A long time for them, but they're free. America is a safer nation. This morning, it's a prouder nation this morning because it didn't allow this horrible person and this country that was doing very bad things to us. It didn't allow it to happen. And the Western Hemisphere is right now a much safer place to be. So I want to thank
Is it? I'm not so sure actually. Like, I think it became much less safe depending on how this continues. Yeah, it is crazy.
everybody for being here. I want to thank General Raisin Kane. He's a fantastic man. I've
Amazing.
worked with a lot of generals. I worked with some I didn't like. I worked with some I didn't
Oh my
respect.
God, he always rambles so much. Okay, he could just say thank you to all the generals, and now I'll give the stage to this or that guy. Now I work with a lot of generals. Some of them I liked, some of them I did not like. Some of them were handsome, some of them were ugly, some of them were tall, some of them were short. I have a lot of, you know what I mean?
I worked with some that just weren't.
I mean, Rubio is gonna talk next, and then I think Hegzev's gonna talk before Rubio.
good, but this guy is
I
fantastic.
think this video has all of them speaking.
I watched last night one of the most precise attacks.
Yeah, in the history of the world.
Sovereignty. I mean, it was an attack for justice.
Yeah, it was an act of we are taking over Venezuela for justice, and we're also taking Venezuelan oil for justice. We are real justice warriors, SJWs.
And I'm very proud of him, and I'm very proud of our Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, who I'm going to ask to say a few words. Thank you very
There
much.
you go. I told you. Hegzev speaks first. Secretary of War. Nobody calls him that, by the way. No media calls him the Secretary of War. Everybody just keeps calling him the Secretary of Defense because nobody cares for this change, for this pathetic little display.
Mr. President, can you explain how the U.S. will run Venezuela?
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Finally, a commander-in-chief the world respects and the American people deserve. And as the president said, words can...
Who respects this? Who exactly respects the US now? When the US did the most unhinged thing. Where?
capture the bravery and the power and the precision of this historic operation. A massive joint military and law enforcement raid flawlessly executed by the greatest Americans our country has.
Okay, are you just gonna repeat what Trump said? Like, Trump said all that. Why are you here?
Offer. American warriors are second to none. The best in the world.
Yeah, okay, why are you here again?
The best of our country.
Oh my God.
What all of us witnessed last night was sheer guts and grit, gallantry and glory.
Gallantry.
Warrior.
Holy shit.
Simply humbled by such men, and I tip my hat
Such man. He forgot he was not glazing Trump anymore.
to our chairman, Dan Raisin Kane, and all those Americans who stood watch last night. Our warriors are the elite of America, and again, President Trump has your back. No other country on planet Earth, and it's not even close, could pull this kind of operation off. And no other president has ever shown
The president. Oh my God. He's not saying anything. That this speech is this is an empty speech. This is devoid of any content.
this kind of leadership, courage, and resolve. The most powerful combination the world has.
Ever seen.
As a
Oh,
The
God.
president said, our adversaries remain on notice. America can project our will anywhere, anytime.
Any place.
Coordination, the stealth, the lethality, the precision, the very long arm of American
You
justice.
already said that. You already repeated the word precision 5 times. We're so precise. The precision of our preciseness is the best in the world. Our warriors have been so precise in their precision. Stop. If you have nothing to say, make it short and step back. Are they on a clock? Are their speeches timed to the second?
Is all on full display in the middle of the night. Nicolas Maduro had his chance, just like Iran had their chance, until they didn't and until he didn't.
Yeah, it's might makes right. Do as we say, or we're just gonna invade and attack you, which again, it sets a precedent on the international stage, whether you like it or not. Okay, it sets the stage for how the rules of international order are played. Like,
Yeah.
you add those little pieces and they add up to a set of rules by which the world operates. Russia not being at all, as it seems, punished for its invasion of Ukraine sets a precedent. The US doing what it just did, that sets a precedent. What kind of a world are we going to be living in soon? I ask naively.
Left around, and he found out.
Wait, no way did he just say that. They fucked around and they found out. No
Trump is
way.
deadly serious around until they didn't and until he didn't.
No way did he just say a censored version of they fucked around and found out.
He effed around.
No, he said he effed around. He fucked around and found out. No way.
He found out. President Trump is deadly serious.
Holy moly. This is the state of the world now.
About stopping
What is Haze afraid of being demonetized or something? That he couldn't just say they fucked around and found out.
the flow of gangs and violence to our country. Deadly serious about stopping the flow of drugs and poison to our people. Deadly serious about getting back the oil that was stolen from us. And deadly serious about reestablishing American deterrence and dominance in the Western Hemisphere. This is about the safety, security, freedom, and prosperity of the American people.
Right.
This is America first.
Yeah, that actually unironically is in this case. We're going to fuck over Venezuela. We're going to occupy the country and basically steal the oil. And America first. Make America great again.
This is peace through strength.
It's okay.
The United States War Department is proud to help deliver it.
Yeah, we're so proud of this president that is the president of no new wars, no new conflicts. Only Joe Biden started conflicts. Okay, how many countries Joe Biden invaded actually? Okay, how many countries did Joe Biden bomb like Trump did?
Welcome to 2026. And
What oil was stolen from the US? He is talking about the nationalization of oil industry in Venezuela, which was theft of American oil.
Under President Trump, America is back.
Baby.
Welcome now our Chairman Raisin Kane, to give a few more details about the operation. Mr. Chairman.
Oh boy.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning. Last night, on the order of the President of the United States and in support of a request from the Department of Justice, as the President said, the United States military conducted an apprehension mission in Caracas, Venezuela, to bring to justice 2 indicted persons, Nicolas and Cecilia Maduro. This operation, known as Operation Absolute Resolve, was discreet.
Absolute resolve.
precise, and conducted during the darkest hours of January 2nd, and was the culmination of months of planning and rehearsal, an operation that, frankly, only the United States military could undertake. What I'd like to do this morning is talk to you through some of the preparation and the details without compromising any of our tactics, techniques, and procedures. There is always a chance that we'll be tasked to do this type of mission again.
Yeah, I know. I realize that there's a chance that Trump will want to do this sort of thing again somewhere else. Yeah.
Our interagency work began months ago and built on decades of experience of integrating complex air, ground, space, and maritime operations. While the past 2
Space? What does that mean? Ground, air, space operations?
decades have honed the skills.
Oh, probably. You probably mean satellites and such. Okay, never mind.
Space and maritime operations. While the past 2 decades have honed the skills of our special operations forces, this particular mission required every component of our joint force, with soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Guardians working in unison with our intelligence agency partners and law enforcement teammates in an unprecedented operation. We leveraged our unmatched intelligence capabilities and our years.
Yeah,
of
it is unprecedented, but in a negative way. Like, it is definitely not precedented in a positive way.
experience in hunting terrorists, and we could not have done this mission without.
Like, you cannot just designate a president of a different country the leader of some cartel without any evidence. Can you? Well, apparently you can. The United States did it. Okay.
Incredible work by various intelligence agencies, including the CIA, NSA, and NGA.
Aha, CIA.
We
Always.
watched, we waited, we prepared, we remained patient and professional. This mission was meticulously planned, drawing lessons.
He was the cartel. Yeah, I am the one who knocks. Can I see any evidence of him being the cartel? Not just, assertion that he was?
From decades of missions over the last many years, many missions over these last many years. This was an audacious operation that only the United States could do. It required the utmost of precision and integration within our joint force. And the word integration does not explain the sheer complexity of such a mission. An extraction so precise it involved more than 100.
Okay, more jerking of the U.S. military. I've heard this from Trump. I heard this from Haze, and I'm hearing this from
50 aircraft launching across the Western Hemisphere in close coordination, all coming together in time and place to layer effects for a single purpose: to get an interdiction force into downtown Caracas while maintaining the element of tactical surprise. Failure of one component of this well-oiled machine would have endangered the entire mission, and failure is never an option for America's joint force.
Of course.
Those in the air over Caracas last night were willing to give their lives for those on the ground.
I'm going to just remind once again that we're talking about the president of no new conflicts, no new wars. Only Joe Biden started any new wars. In fact, some of the wars that are happening now would have never happened if Trump would have been president. I'm just saying.
The helicopters. Let me talk a little bit about the preparation. After months of work by our intelligence teammates to find Maduro and understand how he moved, where he lived, where he traveled, what he ate, what he wore, what were his pets, in early December, our force was set pending a series of aligned events. Key was choosing the right day to minimize the potential for civilian harm and maximize the element of surprise. and minimize the harm to the indicted personnel, so as the president said, they could be brought to justice. And as the
yes.
president said earlier today, weather in Venezuela is always a factor this time of the year. And over the weeks through Christmas and New Year's, the men and women of the United States military sat ready, patiently waiting for the right triggers to be met. And the president...
Venezuelan gangs have taken over every single city in the United States. But thank God Trump sent the military and cleaned it all up. The omnipresent Venezuelan gangs that just overpowered the United States of America.
Order us into action.
God bless President Trump.
Last night, the weather broke just enough, clearing a path that only the most skilled aviators in the world could maneuver through. Ocean, mountain, low cloud ceilings. But when tasked with a mission, this organization does not quit.
Okay.
At 10:46 p.m. Eastern Time last night, the president ordered the United States military
Okay,
to move forward
I've heard this before. And I feel like we're looping now.
with this mission. He said to us, and we appreciate it, Mr. President, good luck and Godspeed. And those words were transmitted to the entire joint force. Over the course of the night, aircraft began launching from 20 different bases on land and sea across the Western Hemisphere. In total, more than 150 aircraft, bombers, fighters, intelligence, reconnaissance, surveillance, rotary wing were in the air last night. Thousands and thousands of hours.
Okay, I don't really have anything to add here to this jerking off of the U.S. military once again.
Experience were airborne. Our youngest crew member was 20, and our oldest crew member
The youngest member was 20. Such brave young man, ready to learn.
was 49. And there's simply no match for American military might.
True.
As the night began, the helicopters took off with the extraction force, which included law enforcement officers, and began their flight into Venezuela at 100 feet above the water. As they approached Venezuelan shores, the United States began layering different effects.
I mean, one by one, free people have been doing it so far, so I guess it is allowed. It is endorsed, in fact, not just allowed.
By Spacecom, Cybercom, and other members of the interagency to create a pathway. Overhead, those forces were protected by aircraft from the United States Marines, the United States Navy, the United States Air Force, and the Air National Guard. The force included F-22s, F-35s, F-18s, EA-18s, E-2s, B-1 bombers, and other support aircraft, as well as numerous remotely piloted drones. As the force began to approach Caracas, the Joint Air Component began dismantling and disabling the air defense systems in Venezuela, employing weapons to ensure the safe passage of the helicopters into the target area. The goal of our air component is, was, and always will be to protect the helicopters and the ground force and get them to the target and get them home.
Okay.
As the force crossed the last point of high terrain,
Trump. Ted Schlittering in the back.
where they'd been hiding.
I mean,
in
it's
the
just...
we assessed that we had maintained totally the element of
Yes, you are
surprise.
great. You're amazing.
As the helicopter force ingressed towards the objective at low level, we arrived at Maduro's
Perfect.
compound at 1:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 2:01 a.m. Caracas local time. And the apprehension force descended into Maduro's compound and moved with speed, precision, and discipline towards their objective, and isolated the area to ensure the safety and security of the ground force while apprehending the indicted persons.
All right.
On arrival into the target area, the helicopters came under fire, and they replied with that fire with overwhelming force in self-defense. One of our aircraft was hit, but remained flyable, and as the president said earlier today, all of our aircraft came home, and that aircraft remained flyable during the rest of the mission.
Damn. Okay. I'm just gonna have to wait till we hear something new, something that's not just jerking off the U.S. military, because I don't have a commentary here. I don't really have any commentary to add to this explanation how the thing was conducted.
As the operation unfolded at the compound, our air and ground intelligence teams provided real-time updates to the ground force, ensuring those forces could safely navigate the complex environment without unnecessary...
Yeah, everything. Every time the U.S. troops were attacked, the response is going to be framed as self-defense. I'm not even going to comment on that part.
...risk. The force remained protected by overhead tactical aviation. Maduro and his wife, both indicted, gave up and were taken into custody by the Department of Justice, assisted by our incredible U.S. military with professionalism and precision.
The incrediblest arrest that has ever been conducted in the history of arrests of presidents of foreign countries that we have stated are cartel leaders.
No loss of U.S. life. After securing the indicted persons, the force began to prep for departure. Helicopters were called in to exfiltrate the extraction force, while fighter aircraft and remotely piloted aircraft provided overhead coverage and suppressive fire. There were multiple self-defense engagements as the force began to...
There were multiple self-defense engagements during our invasion of Venezuela.
Withdraw out of Venezuela. The force successfully exfiltrated and returned to their afloat launch bases, and the force was over the water at 3:29
It was all in self-defense, really.
a.m. Eastern Standard Time, with indicted persons on board. And both Maduro and his wife were embarked aboard the USS Iwo Jima. In closing, what we've witnessed today is a powerful...
Oh no, they did not use. They actually do also call it a military operation, so they don't even avoid using that term.
Demonstration of America's joint force.
Yeah, they do call it a military operation. Don't worry.
We think, we develop, we train, we rehearse, we debrief, we rehearse again and again. Not to get it right.
I've heard this before when I watched it live. We do not rehearse to do it right. We rehearse not to fuck it up. Why would you put it like that?
But to ensure that we cannot get it wrong.
Yeah, we don't rehearse for success. We rehearse for not fucking up.
Our jobs are to integrate combat power so when the order comes, we can deliver overwhelming force at the time and the place of our choosing against any foe anywhere in the world. I am immensely proud.
Yeah, we can just attack any country under any pretense because that's the world that we live in now, I guess. That's the new
today of
world
our joint
order.
Force, and filled with gratitude to represent them here today. There is simply no mission too difficult for these incredible professionals.
Okay, yes, I know, they're incredible.
And the families that stand by them and support them. As we stand here this morning, our forces remain in the region at a high state of readiness, prepared to project power, defend themselves, and our interests in the region.
Yeah, we're just gonna pump all the oil from this country and run it.
This operation is a testament to the dedication and unwavering commitment to justice and our resolve to hold...
Yeah, justice is when you take over a whole country and exploit their resources. We have a name for that. There's a historical name for such actions. It starts with C.
Accountable. Those
I wonder if people in the audience can decode the word.
threaten peace and stability. In closing, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to the brave men and women who executed this mission. Their courage and tireless commitment to our nation are what makes us strong. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Well, I don't have much to add to what you've heard now, other than the following points.
Okay.
Maduro was indicted in 2020 in the United States. He is not the legitimate president of Venezuela. That's not just us saying it. The first Trump administration, the Biden administration.
Okay, okay. I've got a question. Is Putin a legitimate president of Russia? Is he? When are you gonna conduct the special operation in Russia and arrest Vladimir Putin and bring him to justice? There's an arrest warrant on his head. Did you know that? You know, ICC. Yeah, is this gonna happen? Gonna happen anytime soon? Any day now?
None of
Or
this
North
is
Korea.
recognized. He's not recognized by the European Union and multiple countries around the world. He is a fugitive of American justice with a $50 million reward, which I guess we saved $50 million. And
We should make sure.
yeah, exactly. But
Don't let anybody claim it. Nobody deserves it but us.
but I want to be clear about one thing. Nicolas Maduro had multiple opportunities to avoid this. He was provided multiple very, very, very generous offers.
Wait. Okay. Those statements are contradictory. If he had many opportunities to get out of this, and if he was given many generous offers, then that means that this has nothing to do with him being an illegitimate president or a fugitive from the law in the US. Like that has jack shit to do with anything if you've proposed him many lucrative offers that he rejected, no? You cannot say, oh, he's illegitimate, but also we've given him chances and we've given him lucrative deals. Because that means that you have, for all intents and purposes, treated him as legitimate.
And chose instead to act like a wild man, chose instead to play around. And the result is what we saw tonight. The other message here is the following. You have a guy, like many people around the world, they like to play games. You have a guy who decides he's going to invite Iran into his country, is going to, do the confiscation of American oil companies, is going to flood our country with gang members.
Yeah, because I still have not been presented with evidence for that, by the way. Those ever-present gangs that have taken over almost the entirety of the United States, and it was up to Trump to clean up.
Is going to take Americans prisoner and try to hold them for hostage and trade them like he was able to do with the Biden administration. Basically likes to play games all this time and thinks nothing's going to happen. And I hope what people now understand is that we have a president. The 47th president of the United States is not a game player. When he tells you that
yes, he is. Okay, he's playing games in regards to Ukraine, he's playing games nonstop. So don't tell me that he is not a game player, quote unquote. He absolutely is.
to do something, when tells you he's going to address a problem, he means it.
Yeah, when he says he's gonna address a problem, he means it, including ending the war in Ukraine in 24 hours. Oh wait, that doesn't count, I guess.
He actions it. I can tell you, I've watched this process now for 14, 15 years, been around it. Everybody talks. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. When I get there, we're going to do this, we're going to take... This is a president of action.
Oh, yeah,
I don't understand yet how they haven't figured this out. And now, if you don't...
Maybe they've been observing the peace negotiations between Russia and Ukraine, which are hosted by the United States, okay? A man of action.
No, now you know. Because this is the way it's going to play out. And I think people need to understand that this is not a president that just talks and does letters and press conferences.
Oh, really? Is that so?
And, if he says he's serious about something, he means it.
Well, maybe he's just okay, maybe he's just not serious about Ukraine in that case. Maybe he doesn't mean it. Maybe that is the conclusion that I should come through with this, that President of the United States is simply not serious about Ukraine at all. Because if he was, according to our hero here, then he would have done it.
And this is something that was a direct...
Also, we still do not know how this will continue. Yeah, they did a military operation. They're saying they're gonna run Venezuela, but we still do not know how this will be exactly done. So even this, we just don't know what will happen.
Threat to the national interest of the United States, and the president addressed it. This is a president of peace, by the way. I told you what I just said earlier.
This is the president of peace. That's why he attacked Venezuela, because as every president of peace, invasion is, the key. But Vladimir Putin is also in the same light, the president of peace. He's just working very slowly towards that peace, you see.
I had multiple opportunities to find his way somewhere else and figure out another. He could have been living somewhere else right now, very happy, but instead he wanted to play big boy. And so now, he's got other sets of problems on his hands. And but I think
Oh my God.
the message here should be for the world. Look, the president doesn't go out looking for people to pick fights with. He's not generally
Sure, Greenland, Guadalcanal, sure.
wants to get along with everybody. We'll talk
He wants. Come on.
to meet with anybody, but don't play games. Don't play games with this president's in office, because it's not going to turn out well. And so I hope that I guess that lesson was learned last night, and we hope it'll be instructive moving forward.
Is that a message for Cuba?
Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Mr. President. Mr. President. Mr. President.
Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President.
Venezuela. So who's in power right now?
Well, we're going to be running it with a group, and we're going to make sure it's run properly. We're going to
We are in charge. Translation: we are in charge of Venezuela right now.
rebuild the oil infrastructure, which will cost billions of dollars. It'll be paid for by the oil companies directly. They will.
Yeah, who's in charge in Venezuela? We're gonna rebuild the oil industry, because that is all that counts when it comes to running Venezuela, a whole country full of people.
Be reimbursed for what they're doing, but it's going to be paid. And we're going to get the oil flowing the way it should be. As you know, it was just a minor flow. It was actually a minor flow for what they have.
Yeah, it was just we attacked Venezuela because they were not pumping enough oil, which was not flowing the way it should.
But we're going to run it properly, and we're going to make sure the people of Venezuela are taken care of.
What does that mean? The people of Venezuela are taken care of. What is any of that supposed to mean?
We're going to make sure the people that were forced out of Venezuela by this thug are also taken care of.
So you're going to be deported out of the U.S. to Venezuela?
Mr. President.
What does taken care of mean?
President.
President, does the U.S. running the country mean that U.S. troops will be on the ground? How will that work?
Well, they always say boots on the ground. Oh, so we're not afraid of boots on the ground if we have to have. We had boots on the ground last
Yeah,
night.
we're not afraid of an occupation. We're not afraid of occupying other countries. Only pussies are afraid of that.
At a very high level, actually. We're not afraid of it. We don't mind saying it. But we're going to make sure that that country is run properly. We're not doing this in vain. This is a very dangerous attack.
Okay, what does run properly mean? These are very vague terms, and they could mean anything, actually. They could insert anything into run properly.
Attack that could have gone very, very badly. Could have gone very badly. We could have lost a lot of people last night. We could have lost a lot of dignity. We could have lost a lot of equipment. The equipment is less important, but we could have lost a lot. And we're going to make sure that this is proper. We're there now. We're ready to go again if we have to. We're going to run the country right.
He almost said company. Come on. For fuck's sake, he almost said company.
It's gonna be-
Listen.
We're ready to go again if we have to.
For fuck's sake.
We're going to run the country right.
This feels like a parody. This feels like a sketch. We're going to run the the country. The company. Holy fuck.
Right. It's going to be run very judiciously, very fairly.
Judiciously.
Make a lot of money. We're going to give money to the people. We're going to reimburse.
Which people? Which people are going to get the money, Mr. President? Who's going to get the money? Oh, God.
People that were taken advantage of. We're going to take care of
Do you mean the American business owners? Are those the people that have been taken advantage of?
everybody. It's very important. We couldn't let them get away with it. You know, they stole our oil. We
There you go. He just answered my
built that
question
whole industry.
very directly.
And they just took it over like we were nothing. And we had a president that decided not to do anything about it.
Uh-huh.
So we did something about it. We're late, but we did something about it. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, can you explain the exact mechanism by which you're going to run the country? Are you
We're gonna run it well. We're gonna do a great job. We're gonna do a better job than any president in the history of presidents has ever done. Thank you. Next question.
going to designate a U.S. official to coordinate?
It's
Can you
all
just
being
unpack that?
done right now. We're designating people. We're talking to
Who
people. We're
specifically?
designating various
Who specifically was the quiet question that was asked? I doubt we will hear an answer to who specifically.
people, and we're going to let you know who those people are.
Mr. President.
Hey, what are the specific mechanisms by which this whole thing is gonna function? We're choosing people. Great answer. A great non-answer.
You mentioned that would run Venezuela.
Well, it's largely going to be for a period of time. The people that are standing right behind me, we're going to be running it. We're going to be bringing it back. It's a dead. You know, I talk about a dead country.
It's a dead country. What does that mean? We've effectively destroyed Venezuela. It's a dead country now. That's a statement. It's a dead country. No, it's not. What do you mean?
A year and a half ago, we were a dead country. Now we're.
Okay, now I'm confused. What does he think a dead country means? What the fuck does he mean that term means? Like, I can understand him saying, okay, we've crippled their government. They're not functioning right now, and we're taking over. They're a dead country. But a year and a half ago, we were a dead country? Do I even want to try to decode it?
The hottest country anywhere in the world. We're a country doing better than any country anywhere in the world. And it required leadership. Venezuela has a lot of bad people in there, a lot of bad people that shouldn't be leading.
A lot of bad beans, a lot of bad eggs.
Not going to take a chance that one of those people take over for Maduro. So you can look at, and others, we have fantastic people, including people in the military. So we're going to have a group of people running it until such time as it can be put back on track, make a lot of money for the people, and give people a great way of life, and also reimbursement.
How? How are you gonna give the people a great way of life? And who are those people? Which people?
For people in our country that were forced out of Venezuela.
Mr. President.
Rubio would be.
You said earlier today that you weren't going to back Machado to come back and be the opposition leader in your Fox and Friends interview. And then you also mentioned the vice president of Venezuela. Are you going to work with the vice president of Venezuela, or how do you foresee the relationship
Well, I
going?
understand she was just sworn in, but she was, as you know, picked by Maduro. So Marco's working on that directly. He just had a conversation with her, and she's essentially willing to do what we think is necessary to.
So she's willing to do whatever we want her to do. She's willing to do whatever we demand, basically.
Make Venezuela great again. Very simple.
Holy fuck, he said it. He said it. He said the make Venezuela great again. I was just kidding when I put it in the title. I was actually kidding when I put the make Venezuela great again in the title of the stream. But no, here it is. He just said it. He just said it directly. Thank you. Okay? Oh, God. Make Venezuela great again.
Mr. President, Colombian.
Oh no, I haven't. I've only seen fragments of this before. I have not seen it in full. I've not heard the make Venezuela great. I just put it in as a joke thing in the title.
President Gustavo Petro, a couple weeks ago, he said he's got to watch his ass. And today, he said he's not concerned about anything happening to him in the aftermath of this operation. So, just what your message is
Well,
about
he
that.
has cocaine mills. He has factories where he makes cocaine, And
Ooh.
yeah, I think I stick by my first statement. He's making cocaine. They're sending it into the United States. So he does have to watch his head.
Any evidence of that? Is any evidence going to be presented of that?
Mr. President, did you notify any members of Congress in advance?
Marco, do you want to talk about that? Because you
Oh, God. Apparently, no, they did not. But I guess the topic is going to come up now. Has the... Okay.
were involved.
Sure. We call members of Congress immediately after. This was not the kind of mission that you can do congressional.
After this? So they've not went through procedure. There you go. We just did it. We didn't care about Congress. Yeah, this is the president that claims to care about everything being judiciary.
Notification on it was a trigger-based mission in which conditions had to be met night after night. We watched and monitored that for
No, that's bullshit. The whole thing was greenlit days in advance. So it could have been also greenlit by the Congress days in advance, logically speaking. They could have asked for this approval days ahead before planning anything. They could have said, we are about to set up on this trigger mission. The situation will be changing. We're asking for the approval. No, that's bullshit. That's just, I don't buy it. I don't accept this.
days. So it's just simply not the kind of mission you can call people and say, hey, we may do this at some point in the next 15 days. But it's largely a law enforcement function. Remember,
Yeah, you could. You just did it. You just said, yeah, we're planning to do a thing within this period of time. Why couldn't you do it exactly?
at the end of the day, at its core, this was an arrest of 2 indicted fugitives of American justice, and the Department of War supported the Department of Justice in that job. Now, there are broader policy implications here.
Yeah, there are.
It's just not the kind of mission that you can pre-notify because it
Why?
the mission.
If I could add one thing to that, Congress has a tendency to leak. This would not be good.
Does it?
If they leaked, General, I think it would have been maybe a very different result. But I have to say, they knew we were coming at some point, you know.
If they knew you were coming, then you just defeated your whole argument. What the fuck? You just used the argument they might have leaked and it would have ended differently. But then you said they knew we were coming. So you might as well have informed the Congress.
A lot of ships out there, they sort of knew we were coming. But Congress will leak, and we don't want leakers.
Mr. President.
What does that matter if they knew that you were coming?
You were one of the only people to watch this all play out live. What was Maduro doing when the U.S. forces entered what I assume would be his home? And also, was there any point where the U.S. was considering if Maduro pushed back or resisted killing Maduro?
It could have happened. It could have happened. He was trying to get into a safe place. You know, the safe place is all steel. And he wasn't able to make it to the door because our guys were so fast. They went through the opposition so fast. And there was a lot of opposition. You know, people were wondering, do we get them by surprise? Sort of surprised, but they were waiting for something. It was a lot of opposition. There was a lot of gunfire. You saw some of it today.
So if there was a lot of opposition, if they saw it coming, if they knew you were coming, what's the reason that the Congress was not informed again?
But he was trying to get
Some
to
imaginary leaks?
a safe place, which wasn't safe because we would have had the door blown up in about 47
Seconds.
seconds, they say, on
Of course.
average, regardless of how thick the steel was. It was a very thick door. It was a very heavy door, but he was unable to get to that door. He made it to the door. He was unable to close it.
Yeah, oh God.
So where's Maduro going to be? Where is Maduro going to be in the time being right now? Do you know his exact
Well,
whereabouts?
eventually, ultimately, in the
New York.
near future, he's going to be brought to New York.
And where is he going to be held? Where is he going to be held in New York? Do you know?
That's going to be up to the officials that do these things.
Mr. President, the U.S. has something of a mixed track record of ousting dictators without necessarily a plan for what comes afterwards.
Not with me.
That weigh on your decision
Well, that's
making?
when we had different presidents, but with me, that's not true.
Okay, what's the plan then?
We've had a perfect track record of winning we win a lot, and we win. If you look at Soleimani, you look at al-Baghdadi, you look at the Midnight Hammer. Midnight Hammer was...
Wait, he didn't say anything. He, like, the journalist said that the U.S. has a dodgy reputation of ousting dictators and then not knowing what to do next. Okay? And Trump said, well, we won. But he didn't address the what's next part.
Incredible. Right now, you wouldn't have peace in the Middle East. We have essentially peace
You
in the Middle East.
don't have peace in the Middle East. Like, not really. With the shit that's happening in Gaza and the West Bank.
Because of that, if we weren't successful with Midnight Hammer, you wouldn't have peace in the Middle East. So, with me, you've had a lot of victory. You've had only victories. You've had no losses. Yeah.
Mr. President, can you? How long do you expect the U.S. to run Venezuela, and how soon do you want the Venezuelan people to hold elections?
Indefinitely, as long as it takes, as long as we want. That's the answer. That's the only proper answer to this question. As long as we see fit.
I'd like to do it quickly, but it takes a period of time. You know, we're rebuilding. We have to rebuild their whole infrastructure. The infrastructure is
oil infrastructure, that is. Who cares about any other infrastructure?
It's actually very dangerous. It's blow-up territory. Oil is very dangerous.
There you go. It's all about the oil and nothing else.
Very dangerous thing to take out of the ground. It can kill a lot of people. It has killed a lot of people doing just that. The infrastructure is old. It's rotted. Much of it is stuff that we put there 25 years ago, and we're going to be replacing it. And we're going to take a lot of money out so that we can take care of the country.
Of which country?
Are you saying that Secretary Rubio and...
Mr. President, China, Russia, and Iran have interests in Venezuela. How does this operation affect your relationships with them when it comes to the oil and drugs?
In terms of China and Russia, Russia when we get things straightened out. But in terms of...
What does that mean? Again, he just says things. What does that mean, get things straightened out? What does he mean when he says that?
The countries that want oil... We're in the oil business. We're going to sell it to them. We're not going to say we're not going to. In other words, we'll be selling oil, probably in much larger doses because they couldn't produce very much because their infrastructure was so bad. So we'll be selling large amounts of oil to other countries.
So we're just taking over a sovereign country, and we're gonna take their oil and sell it at a profit. Amazing.
Many of whom are using
President of Peace.
It now. But I would say many more will come.
Are you saying that, Mr. President, are you saying that...
Mr. President, thank you. What is your message to the people of Venezuela today? Of course, the civilian population specifically, they have a lot of questions. What is your message to the people of Venezuela?
That you're going to have peace, justice. You're going to have some of the riches that you should have had for a long period of time. It was stolen from you. But you're going to have peace, and you're going to have safety, you're going to have justice, you're going to have a country, you're going to have a real country, you're going to have...
Run by us. You're going to have a country that will be run by us.
Potentially a great country. You know, if you go back 20 years, maybe even a little longer ago, that was a great country, and they destroyed it. Remember I said that if we lose this election, the United States will be Venezuela on steroids.
No fucking way.
That's what would have happened. Had we lost the election, the 2024 election,
oh God,
we suffered so badly. When you look at the border from 2020, what they did, what Joe Biden did,
that was a dead country after all.
Administration did to our country should never.
Yeah, the U.S. was a dead country, a dead domain. But
be forgotten. But if we had to go through another year of that, we wouldn't have. We would be exactly where Venezuela was. In terms, I used to say, if they win, we're going to be Venezuela on steroids, and that's what would have happened.
President, thank you. Are you saying that Secretary Hegseth and Rubio are going to be running Venezuela, and will you be sending in U.S. military troops to provide?
They're going to be a team that's working with the people of Venezuela to make
with whom? How? How exactly?
Sure that we have Venezuela right. Because for us to just leave, who's going to take over? I mean, there is nobody to take over. You have a vice president who's
So we have to occupy the country. Why are they avoiding using the correct term? Venezuela is going to be occupied.
been appointed by Maduro, and right now she's the vice president, and she's, I guess, the president. She was sworn.
The country has been invaded and taken over. That's it. That's like there is no other way to call it.
President just a little while ago. She had a long conversation with Marco, and she said, "We'll do whatever you need." I think she was quite gracious, but she really doesn't have a choice. We're going to have this done right. We're not going to just do this with Maduro, then leave like everybody else, leave and say, let it go to hell. If we just left, it has zero chance of ever coming back.
So what's the plan of this occupation? What exactly is the plan?
We'll run it properly. We'll run it.
What does that mean?
Professionally, we'll have the greatest oil companies in the world going and invest billions and
Like you
billions.
already almost called the country a company twice.
Of dollars and take out money, use that money
What the fuck?
in Venezuela, and the biggest beneficiary are going to be the people of Venezuela. And also,
How? How exactly are you going to be the biggest beneficiaries of this? Explain.
stress this strongly enough, the people that got thrown out of Venezuela that are now in the United States.
Yeah,
frankly,
now we can deport them, I guess. Right? Now we can deport all those people. Finally.
want to stay, and some probably want to go back. Yeah.
So, Mr. President, what's being done to protect Americans in the country?
Aren't all Venezuelans in the US gangsters in the cartels that have taken over the cities where you had to enter with the military? I'm surprised there are any regular Venezuelans in the US.
For any of the detained Americans?
Well, right now they're
arrested
very
last
protected because nobody's going to mess with us. They're very protected.
I think Venezuela is the most populous country in the world. If they had the manpower to flood the US with cartel members that took over the cities, as well as the regular Venezuelan citizens that simply run away from Venezuela, right? It's wild.
And we let them know that you better not touch one of them.
And are you concerned that bad elements of the Maduro regime will remain in place?
Well, we know who they are. We're on them. And they're acting much differently now than they would have acted 2 days ago.
And what can you
okay,
say
wait,
about-
behind you, please.
Mr. President, why is running a country in South America America first?
Well, I think it is because we want to surround ourselves with good neighbors. We want to surround ourselves with stability. We want to surround ourselves with energy. We have tremendous energy in that country. It's very important that we protect it. We need that for ourselves. We need that for the world. And we want to make sure we can protect it. Yes, sir. Please, go ahead.
Yeah, is there a message here for Cuba and Diaz-Canel?
Well, Cuba's an interesting case. Cuba is,
Whoa, already discussing like the further plans, already discussing further adventures into Cuba.
not doing very well right now. That system has not been a very good one for Cuba. The people there have suffered for many, many years.
I guess another military operation is, in order. Cuba's next.
And I think Cuba is going to be something we'll end up talking about because Cuba is a failing nation right now. Very
And we're going to have to turn it into a dead country.
badly failing nation. And we want to help the people. It's very similar in the sense that we want to help the people in Cuba, but we want to also help the people that were forced out of Cuba and living in this country. Do you want to say something?
Is he actually making an announcement that he's going to invade Cuba next?
That, Marco, please.
Well, I mean, I just gave you a statement a few minutes ago about, when the president speaks, you should take him seriously. So suffice it to say, Cuba is a disaster. It's
So they are basically saying Cuba's next, you're next. Okay, like in that movie from the 80s, Bloodsport, with Van Damme, was it? You are next.
It's run by incompetent, senile men, and in some cases...
Ooh, okay. You should not be saying that with the man standing behind you, okay? It's run by incompetent, senile men. Oof. Ay. Your president has taken a third cognitive test very recently.
not senile, but incompetent nonetheless. It has no economy.
He went back on the senile bit. Oh, maybe he felt the cold presence of his president behind him when he said senile. Oh my goodness. I did not expect him to walk back from the senile bit.
It's in total collapse. And by the way,
Oh my God.
they were, all the guards that helped protect Maduro.
Uh-oh, the senile guy behind me. No, abort. No, maybe not senile, but definitely incompetent. Oh God.
Their whole spy agency, all that were full of Cubans. I mean, it's amazing. This poor island took over Venezuela in some cases. One of the biggest problems that Venezuelans have is they have to declare independence from Cuba. They tried to basically colonize it from a security standpoint.
So basically, okay, let me get this straight. The United States was flooded with cartels from Venezuela, which have taken over every single city in the United States. The United States almost lost Los Angeles, so Trump had to go in with the military, which Venezuela itself is infiltrated and taken over by Cuban spies and colonized by Cuba. I got it. So I guess the next course of action is to attack Cuba next, right?
Yeah, look, if I lived in Havana and I was in the government, I'd be concerned, at least a little bit. Well,
okay, so my question is, that's see, like, they think they're thinking one step ahead, but I am thinking 2 steps ahead. So my question is, okay, if Venezuela is being controlled by Cuba, who's controlling Cuba? What is the country behind Cuba? What is the target after Cuba? I guess we'll learn that after Cuba, okay? I guess we'll learn the shadow puppet master that colonized Cuba after Cuba.
The president already announced a week ago that anything that's sanctioned, it's sanctioned oil, it's not going to be allowed to get there. So that's an
The answer is yes.
Mr. President, is the U.S. aware of the location of opposition leader Machado, and have you been in contact with her?
No, we haven't really.
No, we have our own people to run this country. We don't care about any other people. Not handpicked by us. Thank you. Next question.
Mr. President, on Monday...
I think it would be very tough for her to be the leader. She doesn't have the support within, or the respect within the country.
Yeah, unlike our people that have super support and super respect, of course. Mm-hmm.
Very nice woman, but she doesn't have the respect.
Mr. President, is it possible that the U.S. ends up administrating Venezuela for years?
Well, it won't cost us anything because the money coming.
This is a very interesting question.
Well,
is it possible that the U.S. ends up administrating Venezuela for years?
Are you gonna stay in this country for years? It won't cost us anything, which he basically confirmed it.
Well, it won't cost us anything because the money coming out of the ground is very substantial, so it's not going to cost us anything.
So the U.S. isn't going to dedicate money to...
Well, we want safety there. We want to be surrounded by countries that aren't housing all of our enemies all over the world. That's
there you go.
What was happening. And,
he basically confirmed it. We're just going to stay here for years to come because it won't cost us anything.
We want to have that, but we're going to be rebuilding, and we're not spending money. The oil companies are going to go in. They're going to spend money. We're going to take back the oil that, frankly, we should have taken back a long time ago. A lot of money is
they should have just taken over the country years ago and, taken over the entirety of their industry. Brilliant.
The ground. We're going to get reimbursed for all of that. We're going to get reimbursed for everything that we spend. So it's going to be a very important. This is a very big.
This is going to be a very important project.
Evening that took place last night. We have to be surrounded by safe, secure
colonies,
countries, and we also have to have energy. Very important. We have to have energy.
We also need to siphon their colonies. We have to siphon their resources, of course, naturally.
Energy, not where they're getting 4% and 5% of the energy out of the ground. You take a look, it was such a disaster. So what's going to happen with Venezuela, I think, over the next period of a year.
Sovereignty? Never heard of her. Also, Russia is very incompetent with the excavation and refinement of rare earth minerals. Maybe Trump should attack Russia next. Russia has, I think, 10% of the planet's rare earth minerals, but only exports 2% because they're very incompetent at utilizing this resource. So, food for thought. Food for thought.
Is going to be a great thing, and the people of Venezuela will be the biggest beneficiaries.
Mr. President, U.S. military.
Mr. President, thank you. What did you last speak to Maduro about when you spoke? And is the
Well,
US
I don't want to get into the
Venezuela?
conversations, but I did have conversations with him, and I said, "You got to surrender."
I don't want to get into the conversations, but I'm gonna tell you what I told him. Like, so you got into the whatever.
And I actually thought he was pretty close to doing so, but now he wished he did. Yeah.
Mr. President, can you explain? You said that Maduro is responsible for drug trafficking. You recently pardoned the former president of Honduras, who was convicted of many drug trafficking. Can you explain how these two situations are different? And would you ever pardon Maduro?
I endorsed, as you know, the winning president, the man who won in Honduras. I endorsed the man who won in Chile. I endorsed the man who won in Argentina. And we are doing very well with that whole group. What the man that I pardoned was, if you could equate it to us, he was treated like the Biden administration treated a man named Trump. That didn't work out too well for them. This was a man who was persecuted very unfairly. He was the head of the country. He was persecuted very unfairly. And there are a number of them. And we felt...
So basically, I do what I want. I don't give a fuck about the whole drug thing when I like the person that I'm pardoning. Don't ask such questions. You're fake news. Screw you. Next question. Thank you.
that it was a very unfair situation that happened to him. He's also a party member of the man who won. So obviously the people liked what I did. And one of the reasons that was done is because of the fact that the party in power felt very strongly that that man was treated very badly. I studied it very quickly, and then I studied it in great detail.
Okay.
I went to a lot of the people standing behind me, and they felt that that man was persecuted and
They felt. Okay.
treated very badly.
It's all
That's
about
why
those feelings.
I gave him apart.
Mr. President, you referenced boots on the ground earlier.
Also, he never answered the question if he would consider, pardoning the Venezuelan president. He actually completely sidestepped answering that part of the question. Just gonna note that.
Can you just sort of button this up? Do you envision the U.S. military having a presence in Venezuela as the U.S. runs that
Well,
country?
no, we're going to have a presence in Venezuela as it pertains to oil, because we have to have, we're sending our expertise in. So you may need something, not very much. But no, we're going to be taking
Yeah, who cares about stabilizing the country? Who cares about the fact that we just deposed the president? How it would affect the society, law and order, or whatever else? We're just here for the oil. That's the only thing that we're gonna be taking care of. But we're running the country, by the way.
Got a tremendous amount of wealth out of the ground, and that wealth is going to the people of Venezuela and people from outside of Venezuela that used to be in Venezuela, and it goes also to the United States of America in the form
First and foremost.
of reimbursement for the damages caused us by that country.
What is it going to be? 70% of all the oil profits, or something stupid like that? What's it going to be? What are the exact terms going to be for that?
So I want to thank you all very much. Thank you. Do you have one? Yes, please. You were so nice before. I'm going to give you the final question. Go ahead.
Oh my God.
Unless it's a bad question, in which case I'll go one. It's about who?
It's about Putin. If you want
About Putin. Well, that's always nice.
You had a
to talk
phone.
about Putin.
You had a
Yeah, totally legitimate president of a democratic country, right? Since we're talking about illegitimate presidents.
phone call with him on Monday. Did he talk at all about Maduro? Did y'all talk about this?
No, we didn't.
And
We
then,
never spoke about Maduro.
are you mad at him right now? I mean, there's this
I'm not
intelligence.
thrilled with Putin. I'm not thrilled with Putin. He's killing too many people.
There was that
I
intelligence.
thought that would be so. I settled 8 1/4.
Holy shit, he misunderstood the question. He was asked, are you thrilled with Putin because he, he criticized you for this shit. He criticized you for attacking Venezuela. That was the question. Are you thrilled with him right now over this whole situation? And now he just pivots to the war. Oh, God.
War. You know what the 1/4 was? Thailand and Cambodia. I did it again. They broke out, and I did it in about 5 hours.
Seconds.
And I
5
settled
seconds.
it. I'm giving myself 1/4, so I'm up to now 8 1/4. In other words, I settled the war, but then they broke out.
No, you have not.
Bad breakout over the last 4 days. I got them to go back to peace. So I only give 1/4. I thought the easiest one would be, one of the easier ones would be Russia, Ukraine. It's not, and they both have done some pretty bad things.
Yeah, both sides are bad. Both sides, Ukraine and Russia, are equally bad, I guess.
And look, that's Biden's war. That's not my war. But I want to stop the lives. Did you
That was not even the question.
see where last month 30,000? This last it was 27.
It was about Russia's reaction to your attack.
27,000 the month before. 30,000, mostly soldiers, were killed this last month. 30,000. I want to stop that. You know, I got NATO to pay 5% instead of the 2% that they weren't paying.
Holy moly. The rambling begins. And once the rambling begins, it just seemingly never ends.
They weren't paying 2, now they pay 5. And we send them a lot of munitions, we send them a lot of things, missiles and various other things, a lot. And they pay. The United States is not losing money. We're probably making money on that. It's the last thing I care about. I just want to stop all those people. We're losing 25, 30,000 human beings.
If it was the last thing you cared about, then you would have given it as aid. Don't bullshit, okay? It's the first thing that you care about. If money was the last thing you cared about, you would not sell the weapons. You would have given it as aid.
They come from 2 places.
What is this?
They're very far away. But if I can stop, because it's something I've been pretty good at.
Yeah, the last thing I care about is money. I simply stopped all aid and decided to sell weapons instead. But I don't care about the money. I don't care about it at all.
Doing deals, I guess. It's all a deal. Life is a big deal. But
yeah, life is not a big deal, and countries are not companies, as you've almost stated many times just in this very speech.
if I can stop that war and stop 30,000 young people, in addition to the fact that people are being killed in Kiev, people are being killed in other cities.
Kiev, okay? Not Kiev.
You know, a much smaller number, but they're being killed, viciously killed. So I'm not happy about it. I thought that would be something that would get solved. We have Mr. Witkoff here. I think that we're making progress, but that's a war that should have never happened. If
Yes,
I were president,
yes,
it would have
yes.
never happened.
Yes, sure.
Putin says it. Everybody says it. If I were president, that would have
Oh,
never
everybody says it. Okay.
happened. But I inherited that war. That was Joe Biden, Zelensky, and Putin. I came into the situation, and it's a mess.
Oh, my
And
God.
I will say this. I watched an
Uh-huh.
operation last night that was so precise, that was so brilliant. I mean, it was incredible. If we had...
Is he going to say that Putin should have done the same?
our people, like this general and our people involved, that war would not have gone on very long, that I can tell you.
What is the implication here? If we would have been invading Ukraine instead of Russia, it would have been over by now. That's the implication. I'm sorry. That's the only implication that I can draw from this.
That war, to use an old term, that war has become a bloodbath, and we want it to get stopped. Thank you very much.
concerned a rogue Venezuelan general to take over the country?
Can you talk about your conversation with the vice president?
Brilliant. Well, that's that. That was amazing. I think we all know what sort of precedent that sets when it comes to how things operate in the world. Mainly in my mind, for China, Russia, to some extent, India. That was amazing. That was simply very telling. That was very educational. Well, I guess we just have to see what happens. We just have to see how this unravels in Venezuela itself. What a brilliant plan Trump has for running the country. Let's pray that he does not run it to the ground. I guess we can expect invasion into Cuba in the future. And we will just have to see how the world reacts and how that affects the rules of the game of international relations.